Good morning, everyone. We'll give it a few more minutes and we'll begin on time. Hi, Mohammed.
Hi, good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. What's going on with that farm up there in northern Kentucky?
Didn't work out.
Not yet. Not
Yeah, yeah, the guy said he wants to try to sell it on his own for like 30 more days. And then if he decides to list it, it will be with us. So I'm gonna follow up with him in like 2 to 3 weeks.
I wouldn't wait that long. I would give it 7 days and just check in with him. You're just checking
Okay.
in. See how things are going.
Okay.
Have you had any bites?
No, yeah, I'll ask him.
Yeah, that's what you're doing every 7 days. Hey, and we don't say the word follow-up with the
Yeah,
client.
checking in or something.
Just say, hey, look, I'm circling back around. I know I told you that we'd continue staying in communication, and I just wanted to make sure I'm checking in with you to see if you have any bites on the property, anyone's engaging with you.
Right. Thank you. It's a good idea.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's exciting. It's okay. It takes a lot. Farms are they're a very different beast. They take a little
Yeah, they
longer to
are.
sell. They require a little more money on the front end.
Yeah.
But they are a unique niche, I can tell you that.
Oh, they are. It's interesting to me.
Well, good, good. Yep, I'm happy to share any of my knowledge as we go along. If you have any future perspective horse farms that you're dealing with. A lot of
Yeah.
breaking into that market, Muhammad, is it is networking. It
Yeah.
used to be the good old boys club in Lexington that owned that market, and we want to change that.
Yeah.
Need there to be a new generation and some young blood that are capable and ready to get in there and help those people. But a lot of being able to sell horse farms is being at all of the right events, that are Lexington. So I would encourage you to start looking on the Fasig-Tipton, the Keeneland calendar, and the Kentucky Horse Park calendars. Those are going to be super helpful for you because that's when you'll want to go out and market when you do get those horse farms listed. So
Yeah, I saw a horse farm recently that came off the market here in Lexington. But I wasn't able to get a hold of the owner. I was trying to get a hold of him, but he's in Texas. I made a
they are
research.
they are usually absentee owners. They have someone caring for their stuff here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It was
like
like
your
for
I like
14 millions.
okay, yeah. I like your picture here. Good morning,
Thank you.
Joe. Good morning, Sydney. Who is on the iPhone Pro Max? Who is that?
It's usually Nellie.
Oh, Nelly.
Hi, it's Amanda.
Oh, Amanda. Amanda, how are you?
I'm Justin. How are you this morning?
I'm good. Sounds like you're going to be probably in the act of selling real estate.
Yeah,
More active soon. Is that right?
yeah, that's kind of where we're leaning towards.
Well, you have got a great leader, so I'm excited
Yes,
for you. If there's anything I can do to help you, please let me know.
thank
We're just
you.
gonna we're just gonna give a couple more minutes. Did anybody have any victories over the weekend?
Me.
Oh, tell me all about it.
Not only am I in Indiana helping my mother-in-law after her knee replacement yesterday morning, like she was out of the hospital from start to finish in 5 hours. So there's that. I got some clients under contract late last night, that I've been working with for almost 2 years. I met them at an open house and I faithfully stayed in touch. And we're under contract for a house in Harrodsburg on 10
Oh,
acres.
good for you, sister. That's so exciting. Did anybody else win a listing this weekend or win a new buyer or convert someone? Don't everybody speak at once. Tell me about your weekend victories. Come on, because I'm going to fill you with mine if you don't give me some. So I'll go first. I've been working with these clients. They were a C client, moved them to B, and then they became an A client 2 weeks ago, meaning they're ready to transact in the next 30 days. We've been working on their citizenship to the US, good friends with their daughter who is British, They just got their citizenship here to the United States. I had showed them a property in Midway that came on the market a week ago via FaceTime. They arrived here from London, England, Friday night, and we done a physical tour of the property Saturday and multiple offers, and for $500,000 secured their contract. So they hadn't been in the US for 24 hours and got them under contract for a $500,000 home in Midway. How are you, Megan?
Hi, I'm good. I love your outfit.
You're so funny. Thank you. You doing all right?
It's been a,
Well, that's all right. It's gonna be a good day.
my 6-year-old decided she wanted to scream and cry and not get out of the car, and the car ran around this morning, so.
My husband does that all the
We
time.
we had to sit in the parking lot for 30 minutes and take a chill pill before we could go to school.
Oh, I hate giving children Valiums. Just kidding. You all will get to learn that I have a sordid sense of humor. You just have to roll with it and say, bless her, Jesus. All right, so looks like it is 9:01. We are ready to begin. Who's ready to begin? Make sure that you have your the talk bar on your phone muted or your laptop. If you need to bump in with any questions, please. I'm not gonna be looking at the computer over here behind me, running the screen full time. I'll periodically pop in, but I wanna really fly off the cuff with my knowledge of sellers, how to get them, how to convert them, how to continue to follow up and have a recipe for success, and then have a really good listing presentation so that it can lead to the ultimate reason why we were doing this. We are not a not-for-profit business. We're in this to feed our families and to make a better life for our generations to come. So everything that we do leads to a yes. So today, hopefully, I'll give you a recipe for success and what I'm doing. And if you're doing something that's super amazing, I want to hear all about it. That said, I definitely have to pop out of here by like 11:02 a.m. because I got to get over here to Kenwick to meet a photographer and a property manager for some keys for some rentals I have coming on the market. So I will go quickly, but I want to address any questions that you have. Cheyenne, for the first little portion, will be monitoring the chat, and then she'll have to pop off herself.
I'll be
So-
here I'll be there till 10:30. Time change is hard. I thought I only had a half an hour, but I have an hour and a half.
Oh, you're on Central Time, aren't you?
Yeah, but time change is real hard.
No, I completely understand. All right, is everybody ready to roll?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's do it. All right, so,
There's,
yeah, I gotta find it here.
it's the big box.
Megan's here. Everything's gonna be okay. Good morning. Yeah, we're good. Thank you. All right. Can everyone see that okay? All right, so we're gonna look at the timeline, and the timeline that you see here is we're gonna talk about A sellers. Although we know that there are B and C sellers, today we're strictly gonna focus on A sellers, which are those who are ready, willing, and able, also approved, able and pre-approved and ready to buy within the next 30 days. And then we're gonna talk about how to get the appointment, how to move to the pre-listing packet, which I will share with you on the screen, my little video and a template that I've created that sits on my desktop that Cheyenne was so gracious and kind of loaded it into the computer, and Megan will help me get it up here in a few minutes when we get to that section. And then I will go through the entire listing interview process with the seller and ask for the yes, and them to sign the employment contract that says they are going to be working in relationship with us. And then we'll do recaps, ahas, and a success system. Does that sound okay to everybody? All right. So let's get through this. We want to get to a quote from the famous Gary Keller. And if you have not, I'm not here to plug for family reunion, but if you were not signed up, have paid your ticket and there's still time. I'm going, a portion of our team is going, and I think wherever you are at in your career, there is something for everyone, and it will be well worth the ticket to get to Vegas and to go and to be in a sea of red, black, and white, all with one vision under Gary Keller. So Gary Keller, we're gonna start off with a quote. He said, while leads are vital to your sales business, seller listings are critical to your ability to build it to its highest level with the lowest cost and the highest net return. All right, so we're gonna talk about what those A sellers look like. We talked about there's someone who is ready, willing, and they can't just be ready and willing, they have to be able or pre-approved with the lender or paying cash. Hopefully you'll get some of those cash deals and you'll get some pre-approval letters going and start to work with some really good lenders.
Hey,
All right.
Crystal, if
Yes.
you hit the slideshow button, it will pop up a full screen.
All right.
Megan is
you
keeping
go.
me on point. I love y'all. Just so you guys know, I'm good at selling real estate. I'm not good at working computers.
That's one of the buttons.
She is over here on a roll. All right, so the 3 pillars of the MREA, 3 L's, listings, leads, and leverage. There is nothing better than 2 types of marketing. One, having a sign in the yard and having word of mouth, because there are people, I can assure you right now, in their break room, water cooler or coffee table talk right now happening among people in hair salons, barbershops right now, nail salons, talking about their home, talking about their realtor, well, whether the realtor be good or bad, they're having conversations that you and I are not a part of. But when they think about listing their home, we want to be TOMA, top of mind awareness, so that they choose us and they work with us. All right, so we got listings. Nothing is better than having a sign in the yard that has your name. We do not want to become a professional sign nailer. We want to put it in the yard and about 45 days later, take it out, recycle it, rinse and repeat, and do it with the next one. That's the goal. You never want to be the guy who gets the reputation, or the gal in town who gets the reputation of you're just putting signs in the yard, taking overpriced listings. Because at some point, they're like a fresh loaf of bread, they will go stale. So remember that a listing has a shelf life on it, and your ability to gain buyers are in the first 7 days. It is when it's hot, it's being introduced to the market, it's the shiny penny, and it still looks like a new listing before other ones come on the market, because they're talking to their realtor about listing their home, and all of a sudden you're priced out of the market. And in fact, a stale listing helps to sell someone who's come on the market with more bells, whistles, goodies, and for a better price. So make sure that you're putting the sign in the yard, and 45 days later, you're ready to take it out of the yard, recycle, and repeat the process. When you get a listing, that gives you leverage, because in theory, for every 1 listing that you get, you should pick up 2 buyers. Our team knows this well, and we have a fine-tuned machine over here at the CG group. And so if you guys are ever looking at exploring your opportunities of team growth, starting your own team, I'm not the end all be all, and I will admittedly tell you, I do not completely follow the MREA on the team model, but I can tell you I do have some systems for success, and it's all about systems. So if I can be of help to you in getting going, interviewing a team to join, or starting your own team, please come talk to me. I'm an open book. I'm happy to share my team agreement with you to some degree to help you formulate and do your research on that. And then through the listing that you have, the sign in the yard, you'll get leads, and then you'll get leverage and leverage that out. So 2 buyers in theory for every 1 listing that you get. All right. We're moving on. All right. Virtues of seller listings. This is important to know. There's 6 qualities here. 1, sellers mean that you have a marketing opportunity. Again, there is no better advertisement than a free sign in the yard. You didn't have to pay anything for it. You have more control of your time. You have the commodity. Someone brings the buyer. If you have listings, you are employing every buyer's agent to go work nights and weekends for you. You take the listing, you set it, hopefully you don't forget it, you set it, and then you send out all the buyer's agents into the magical world of real estate to work for you and your sellers on nights and weekends when everyone is starting to trade and do real estate. The third thing is a seller listing maximizes your per hour compensation. Last year Myrna is working with me on my grammar, just so you guys know. She printed up a whole sheet. She's gonna help me become a really good broker.
I think you're going to be a really good.
Thank you. So part of that is grammar. Sellers will help you maximize. So last year, when I put a dollar figure to what my time, what my earnings were, and you should have just gotten your thing in the mail from Keller Williams. When I look at what my time was, and on average, how many hours last year I spent in real estate, my time was valued at about $812 an hour. What other job on planet Earth could your time be worth $800 an hour? Some of you far supersede me, and you could be earning $1,500 an hour. When we look at some of the most famous attorneys that have represented some of the biggest celebrities, you look at what their hourly rate could be or what they could command. I want to be a part of your success. I want you to be able to command top dollar, $2,000, $3,000 an hour just through simple systems. And it all begins with reading the MREA. If you are not a reader, I am not. You listen to a lot of audiobooks, I am. Fill your head with that stuff instead of the garbage of the world, gloom and doom and news and people are dying and terrible music. Get plugged in. I'm telling you, you will be able to do this at a high level. And I just want to encourage you to spend your time filling your ears. And the most valuable real estate on planet Earth sits between the left and the right ear. How many of y'all have a set of ears? Megan, good to know. You got cute little ears. You have adorable little ears.
Picked on my whole life for my ears.
No, I'm not picking. I think they're super cute. I want to encourage you guys, fill this real estate and you can go out into the four corners of the earth and you can make a lot of money and you can create some wonderful experiences and leave some legacies behind for those who, once you leave this world, for the people that you leave behind. Real estate will give you the opportunity to do that, and it all starts with a lot of listings. Volume. At any given point, you can get on Bluegrass Realtors, pull statistics of anyone in any office here, any team, and you can look at their listing and their sales. If they're a selling agent or a buyer's agent of a listing, you can pull any kind of statistics. So some of that is just one-sided volume. Some people just want to list, some people want to work with both. And so we just want to encourage you to start your journey working with sellers. With the seller listings, you're on the front end of pricing. What does this mean? This means that while people like myself who are looking to list the next property, I'm depending on the previous listing agent in that half-mile, 2-mile radius to have set the trends with their own pricing because they are getting ready to close out, or they have just closed out because a ready, willing, and able buyer came and paid that price or above that price or under that price. So you're on the front end and you have the ability to be able to set the tone or the pace for the market in which you're listing in. Property marketed, seller listings bring more business. The minute you get that sign in the yard and you get more, it's like a snowball effect, guys. You can literally, and I don't want to say a downhill, you can literally, the sky is the limit in this industry. So I hope that you guys understand the power of that sign, the networking, the marketing, the buyer leverage in it, and going out and rinsing and repeating and doing that process over and over every day, front loading the cannon for the following week, the following month. Okay. All right. Any questions about that while I've got you here? Anybody want to say anything? Please unmute yourself. Tell me something. If you don't, I'm moving on. Am I annoying this morning? I can be annoying on Tuesdays. It's the only day I'm annoying. The rest of the days I'm very charming and sarcastic, but Tuesdays I'm annoying.
I'll chime in.
Please do.
I was just going to say, I have not had tons of listings. I've been more buyer focused.
Sure.
So I did have a listing in November and I did all the things for it. And I have 2 pending more listings for that one that I got by door knocking.
That's what it's all about. Okay?
So it works. You just have to do the things.
Do the thing, have the power. Do the thing. It's not sexy to do the thing that will make you the money. But again, when we talk about what your time is worth and you're commanding $1,500 an hour, when you look at last year's earnings, you put a dollar figure to that. To Cheyenne's point, you'll be able to really get this process down when you get going, and it'll have such an amazing snowball effect. I'm excited to hear about your future stories and text and videos of what you're doing. I'm rooting for you. All right, so let's talk about the seller cycle. So it looks like that in the MREA, they're good at pictures in the MREA book. Looks like lead conversion, pre-listing, listing consultation, service and marketing of those listings, offers and negotiations, because now all of a sudden you got to procure a buyer, you've got some offers coming in, you got to build a spreadsheet, you got to help your sellers understand without steering them the risk and the benefits of all of the offers that are on the table. So you give them all the information, they're in the driver's seat and they get to choose. You are here to help them make a very informed decision. Whether it's right or wrong, that's not for us to decide. We work for them. 6, contract to close, C to C. The minute you get the contract, now that sets in motion everything to get it to the closing table. And again, just like Friday, we are here to be a bridge to hold the hand of our buyer and seller, to put another plank down every time we reach a hiccup. We have to be holding their hand full of solutions before we present them with the problem that we've just been presented with, and a workaround or a couple of workarounds or options for them, the risk and benefits of each of those options, should they choose one over the other, build the bridge, get them to the end goal, score, closing day, money. That's what it's all about, rinse and repeat. And then 7, a post-closing system. You want to build a system where you get a client for life. I can tell you last year that 87% of my personal business transactions I did within the team. I'm getting there. I did within the team. Almost 90% of it was repeat and SOI, sphere of influence. That's a testament after 7 years in this business that the cycle, though the average person moves every 7 years, people are starting to move in my personal circle. People I sold their first home. We are on 3, and this year just now 4 homes together. This thing has an amazing way of working if you stay top of mind the minute you close and you ask them to leave you a good referral. And I created a QR code. I'll share that with you guys today. It's very easy and free. You can do it on Linktree, and you can link your realtor page, your Google page, your Keller Williams website that they will help you build through their template to leave you a good review. And there's nothing wrong. Let me tell you this. I must say this. There's nothing wrong with a bad review once in a while. It validates the 42 good ones. If you want to always put your best foot forward and say, oh, I only want people to post the good ones, there's always going to be someone out there. You can't be everyone's savior, and you have to be okay with that. So if out of 400 reviews, as an example, if you have 3 negative ones, think about it. When you're shopping for an Airbnb or a hotel, you find 3, but you find 42 amazing ones about the pool. Your kids loved it. They had a little indoor mini golf. Do you listen to the 3 that were bad? Sure, you read them, but you're so excited because you see the pictures of the property and you see all the experiences everyone else had backdated over the last 6 months. It's just a passing thing. So there's nothing wrong with a negative review once in a while. Megan, go ahead.
Fun fact, speaking from a marketing and like ranking on Google and other things standpoint, you will rank lower on Google search engines if you have nothing but good reviews.
Ooh, did you guys hear that? So Megan is a marketing expert. She works for the Shelley Patterson team. She just said that you will rank lower in Google if you don't have anything. Or you don't only have good. You only have good. Sorry.
You don't have any.
Yes.
So if you only have 5-star reviews, if you don't have any that are 3 or 2 or 1, you will rank lower than.
So
somebody
organically, Google will favor you if you have some 3 and 4, some sub. Yeah. So if you have versatility, if you have like, you know, some good and not so good and some raving fans, you want a good mix of everything in there. So Google will organically thank you and put you at the top of the search engine with the SEO just because of that. So that was very good. Thank you, Megan. That's why we have this gal in here. She's so smart. Any ahas, please unmute yourselves. Tell me what you've learned so far, some things that you do that I could be helping implement with my own practice. Glad everybody's speaking up at once. 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're gonna get the appointment. We gotta talk about this. So, real quick, and I don't want to spend too much time on leads, but real quick, we'll go through some quick examples of how you can get some leads to get those listings so that you can get the leverage to rinse and repeat and get the snowball effect going on. There's several pillars. Our team does not implement all of the pillars of business and lead sources. There's several out there. That's a real Googleable thing. You can Google listing seller sources, okay? But as an example, for sell by owners and expireds, I can tell you, I built the first 3.5 years of my business on for sell by owners and expired listings. I wore them out. I wanted to get in front of them so they knowed me and they flowed me, and then they continued to trust me, invite me into their home so that they listed the property with me. And I have my own listing presentation that is geared towards for sell by owners with social proof and property addresses of ones that I have successfully sold, and the same thing with expireds. So I'm here to tell you this thing works if you know how to have the right conversation and you can stay top of mind and continually have a success follow-up with those people. So you have for sell by owners, you have leads that you pay for, perhaps you pay for seller leads. But again, if we go back to sellers, that should help you get more sellers the minute that you get a listing, okay? So that's what this is all about. So you got to get in the door. You got to get in front of them. Converting your A sellers. 1, you're going to respond right away to those lead inquiries. You're going to get complete information. The hoobidooville@gmail.com, the phone number that's 123456789. No, those are not legit. You got to get them on the phone. You got to email them. You got to talk to them. Speed the lead. And sometimes I'm not always the fastest, although I'm pretty quick on the draw with getting to a lead. Sometimes by your sheer conversation and being an expert in the marketplace, you will set yourself apart, and they'll pay attention to you. Determine the motivation of the seller. Remember Friday with buyers, we talked about pain and pleasure. People are moving away from pain. They're moving towards pleasure. And there's a few reasons why people sell. Nobody, unless you live in my house, just wakes up one day and says, honey, let's sell the house. Usually there is something that is painful or pleasurable that they are moving towards in their life. Perhaps there's been a death, perhaps there's divorce. Maybe they were trying to get pregnant with one and all of a sudden God blessed them with triplets. You never know. We never know why folks are selling. But if you can learn that early on and speak to that motivation and keep that in the front of their mind, because we have to remind our sellers when they want to overprice a listing, we have to remind them of the motivation that they told us from the beginning. You told me this. I'm here to help you get it done, and we're $30,000 overpriced. Are you ready to do a price improvement? Are you ready to do a price improvement? Great. Let me prepare the status update form where we update the status and we change the price. We do a price improvement, and all of a sudden we get multiple offers. We did that with one of our own team listings this weekend, and it worked like a charm, and now it's under contract. We want to be able to set the appointment, time and date for as soon as possible and send out a pre-listing packet. Now listen, you need to get in front of these sellers right away, because if you're not, the Michael Prather team is, the Malia Horde team is, somebody within your own team or with our own organization or brokerages at large in the Central Kentucky area, somebody's getting in front of these sellers. You want to be the first to get in front of them and be able to convert them, okay? All right. We're going to talk about that pre-listing packet too.
I have something to add.
Ooh, please do.
So I have a couple sources of online leads, and I got to one late the other day because I was in the middle of something else. But I still called him, and he said, well, you're the second person to call me. And I said, yep, that's how it goes. But I got him talking, and he named the agents that he has used in the past. And I was like, am I going to be able to do this? Because it was a little intimidating. But I have a listing appointment with him on Friday. Just saying.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And listen, I'm just gonna give you, I don't get into all of the Keller, I can't say the word script, but guided conversations that we have in our playbook. But I can tell you one objection that I have heard over the years and the handler for it that I use in my everyday vernacular with sellers when they say that they've had a bad experience with a Keller Williams agent. Never mind the rest of them. Let's just pretend that we're all under one organization. I always liken it to a bag of apples. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, have you ever bought a bag of apples? Was one of the apples bad in the bunch? Much like that apple, there are several in the bunch that are good. And unfortunately, sometimes we run across a bad one. Fortunately for you, you ran into a good one. I'm here to put you in good hands, guide you, and to create a relationship where we have a relationship for life. So there's that. I want to give you some statistics, looks like here on the slides. This is interesting. What do sellers want the most out of the realtor that they choose to list their home? So it's interesting. We're looking at the puzzle here. They're the little pie. It looks like 27% of them say that they want, or let's go to the top right quadrant there. 21% said that they wanted to price their home competitively. Looks like some of them wanted to help sell the home within a specific time frame. Listen, I want you guys to not go into listing appointments talking about I can get your home sold quickly. That can cost you a listing if you presume that someone in today's market, we got to be relevant, today's market, because not everybody wants their house to fly off the shelf. Sometimes putting options in front of them as an office exclusive that protects them, gives them the luxury of time, doesn't mean they're not motivated, but they've got to figure out that next piece of the puzzle. We live in a very low inventory market where many folks have to cash out of and get the proceeds out of their current home to roll it over into the next one. So don't go in there promising them you can get it sold if you haven't spoke to their motivation or realized through good questioning as a good sales rep that they want to get sold quickly. You will scare them, and then I'll come in and list the property properly and I'll help them. Let's not have that happen. I want you to understand that not everybody needs to sell it or have it fly off the shelf, okay? Super important in today's market. Helping the seller find ways to fix their home to sell it for more. You guys need to understand that not every and you've got to get skilled at this by doing your research, listening to podcasts, audio books. Not every DIY, not every home project has a dollar for dollar return on it. If they sink $30,000 into that kitchen and they have the illusion they'll be able to get it back, you have to be able to come in with skill and the correct way to explain it to them that not everybody appreciates shaker cabinets. Not everybody likes quartz countertops. You got to help them understand what will help them, depending on their goals and motivation, return, get the most money on the things they're doing in the home. And it has to be in alignment with where their home is in terms of price point, the neighborhood, the area. You can be, so far overpriced because that person is trying to get all their money back. So you need sometimes with these people who are ready, willing, and able to sell, help them understand and be a good listener and help understand their money situation and be creative on how to help them with contractors to get a few things done. What I find the most interesting thing when I meet with sellers, if they would just hire a cleaning gal or a company to come in for 6 hours and do a spring cleaning and get the 42 inches of dust off of their baseboards, change out a few air filters, put in some LED lights that are like $40, $50 each. And if they would just clean off 5 years worth of dust off of their ceiling fans and open up the blinds or get some 2-inch blinds that are $30 and $40 each and some pots of color with some tea towels and such, that will go a long way. Not every home, we have to meet people where they're at. And most of us are in the bread and butter under $350,000, the working man home, or at least I am. And I can tell you, not a lot of those folks have $30,000 worth of disposable income sitting around to go plug it in and do some things. Sometimes their motivation is hot, and sometimes they've got to get to the next property. They got to get to Chicago where a grandma is having issues, or they've taken a job, and you have to be able to guide them skillfully and treat their pocketbook like your own. How would you want a realtor to come in and talk to you and be very straightforward and forthright about what needs to happen and the chronological steps to make it happen? That's what this is all about, okay? Meeting folks where they're at. Building trust and confidence. People, if they don't know you, they can't flow you. They have to know, like, and trust you. Part of that is building credibility. You have street cred, because make no mistake about it, what I can tell you about today's information society is before you get to their home, they've already looked you up. They've already looked up your Google reviews. They've looked and seen what you've posted on social media. If you've been out at the bar drinking the night before, what kind of person that you are. They are sizing you up the minute that you walk in and you take a step back from their front door and you're approachable. You posture yourself in such a manner, you're professional, your car has been washed. It doesn't look like it has been run through the mud for 42 days straight. They're going to be looking out the front window when you pull up. You want to be on time. You want to be professional. Ladies, we talked about this. If you have a husband and wife, you want to be playing to the neck that turns the head. Speak to that wife. I can promise you the husband will follow wherever his wife is going. Because if she says she don't like you, you ain't getting the listing. Okay? So you got to be likable. You got to be approachable, trustable. You have to have empathy. You have to help people understand that you understand their perspective. You understand the pain that they're going through and the frustration if it's an expired listing. You have to help people who are for sale by owners. We don't make them wrong. Their perspective makes sense to them. You have to help them understand that you understand their perspective. And if I can help you still get what you need in your pocket at the end of this sale, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, would you be agreeable to listing with me? That's all the for sale by owner conversation is. Any questions about that? Who do
I
we
love
got?
the part about, I love that you're telling us that they're going to look you up because they're going to judge you, good, bad, or indifferent. They're going to judge you. I mean, it's a big deal for them to let you sell their house. So they're going to judge you. They're going to make a bunch of assumptions about you. So make sure you're making a good first impression.
You have one opportunity to get it right, just like you do when you introduce that fresh loaf of bread they're listing to the market. You've got one chance to get it right. No do-overs in this business. Who do we have in the chat? So we got Muhammad, we've got, is it Nellie, or was that Sydney? Or who do we got? We got Jill.
Jill.
Oh, there it is.
Sydney.
Who else? How do we scroll up, or how do we?
iPhone Pro Max is.
You have Lakin, Jordan, Jill, Denise,
Great.
Sydney, Muhammad, and the iPhone is Amanda.
Amanda, that's right. It was Amanda. Ladies, Muhammad, what do you got? Any ahas or takeaways or things that you're doing or your team is doing that we all can learn from or benefit from? Don't everybody speak at once.
I promise I'm listening. I'm just driving right now, so I promise I'm listening and participating.
Who is that?
Sydney.
Sydney. Okay. Well, cool. Are you guys getting something out of this?
Yeah,
Yes,
can you
maybe.
repeat, can you please repeat how do you approach Facebook again?
For sale by owners. So for me, it's a simple conversation, and I can tell you, I do not use the Keller Williams guided conversation. We're not going to use the word script. I do not use the Keller Williams guided conversation. I follow Jackie Kravitz. Jill, I think you're on here. Jill also follows the Jackie Kravitz script. She used to be.
I love Jackie.
Yeah. Jackie's amazing. She's very straightforward, and you can
Yeah.
download her for sale by owner and her expired script. It's
I
just as
have it.
simple. If I can help you get what you need to net in your pocket, are you open? We just need them to be open to the possibility that it's
Yeah,
possible. That's
the
it.
problem with Jackie is she always say if I can knit you more in your pockets, and I don't know how she gonna knit them more if they're overpriced already.
Well, because we are not, here's the thing. When we deal with expireds, I'm going to use this as an example. Expireds are a great lead source. They're free. They've already expressed the fact that they're going to pay a commission because they used to be with a realtor that was terrible. And they were a terrible realtor, or they would have told them the truth of what was going to help it sell and for it to close out, or it wouldn't have expired. And it's always one of three things: price, condition, or location. Period. And they were either overpriced with that agent before, and they were done a disservice either by the agent who listed it and was not honest with them, or you have a seller who had to experience the pain after a good realtor tried to help them and they wouldn't listen to them. Okay? So at the end of the day, if they're already overpriced, so what Jackie Kravitz means by that, and I know what you're asking, what she means by that is get you more money in your pocket. So if we list it correctly, and I have there are 3 different listing strategies that I get of every seller. We can enter above market. You're looking for the needle in the haystack buyer that's willing to pay an unreasonable price. I don't know that they exist, but we'll try it your way for a week. Second way that I introduce to them is we can enter at the market level. We don't know how many conversations are going on in a living room right now with other sellers and their realtors that could, in fact, your listing could help sell theirs. The one that I always introduce and emphasize to all my sellers, and we have one coming on the market in Masterson here soon, is we go below the market price. And in fact, it will act as an opening bid, much like an auction. And everybody will say that's a good buy because it has lots of bells and whistles and goodies for the price that's being offered. Think about it yourself. Perception in the eyes of the buyer. Let's say you're shopping for a new Lincoln Navigator. If there's one over here at Paul Miller Ford for $50,000 and it has the seats you crank, it has windows that you crank, and it doesn't have any goodies for $50,000. You go across the road here to Don Franklin and they have a new Lincoln Navigator that has the navigation, premium sound, leather seats, heated and cooled seats, and it has a telescoping steering wheel for $51,000. Which one is in the eyes of the buyer is the better value? The one that has the premium sound and the seating and the windows. So you're getting all these goodies and bells and whistles. And if you enter the market and you get really skilled at listing a property below market, it will act as an opening bid every time. In such a short, small inventory market, it will act as an opening bid and you will get multiple offers and you will drive that price up. And the skill then becomes how to speak to the seller in a multiple offer situation and get them to understand with your spreadsheet. You're not putting names, you're not putting anything about the client other than the terms of the contract, all things being equal, when they can close, if they went no inspections, if they're cash, if they are going to give you post-occupancy closing, if they're doing an escalation clause. You want to build out a really good spreadsheet. And Command actually has it. When you add offers in, when you have a listing, it will go in and build it for your client, and it just makes it really easy for you. But I want you to know that when all things are equal, it will become very clear who they should choose in that moment. And my goal, this is my personal thing. Anytime I list a property and we get multiple offers, which we do all the time, when we get those multiple offers, I sit down, and my goal when I go to the sellers and we review all the offers and we're getting ready to hit reject on 7 of them, we give all those phone calls after we say accept to the one. My goal is to drive that price up as high as I can without risking appraisal, unless the one they're about to choose is waiving appraisal because they're putting so much down or they're cash. So if you start low, it's contrary to the way we think, but if you start low and below market, you could drive that price up like an auction. Is there any questions about that?
It really does work. I didn't, when Crystal told me that strategy, I wasn't quite like, how is that possible? People always want to pay less. With her track record, I mean, it really, really does.
You guys just got to be confident, and I am happy to help you guys run CMAs, okay? You have to be really good at running CMAs, and you got to be really good at standing your ground on being firm. You're the source of the source. Don't shoot the messenger is what I tell them. I don't make up the market. I just deliver the message, okay? I'm the paper boy. When we get into your close to appointment tactics, there's several ways. We talked about this, the same tactics, 7 tactics that you can, I don't like the word tactic. That sounds awful. Let's use the word strategy. 7 close to appointment to get the appointment, strategies. And we talked about this Friday when I taught in Ignite. You can show the benefits of aligning with you, the take back close, the negative positive. The worst case scenario, if we don't make this move happen and we overprice the home, what's the worst case scenario, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? Have them tell you. What if the home don't sell? Well, it's gotta sell. I mean, I gotta get to Chicago. Well, good. So tonight I'm gonna help you price it right. Tonight I'm gonna help you price it right. Okay? And then you're gonna give them what they're looking for. Give the people what they want. If you get a lead and they want to go look at 123 Banana Street, you give the people what they want. You get in front of them, give them 1 free opportunity to get in front of them. You're not gonna give them 42 because your time is worth $800, $900, $1,000 an hour. And I got other people who want to know me and flow me, and I gotta keep going. Don't waste your time with tire kickers. Get your people pre-approved, ask really good questions, the hard questions up front, and you will get those headaches out of the way quickly. Okay? And then we talk about the trial close. Every time we're going in for small yeses. Get them to align with you through tie downs and assumptive close. This is my big thing right here. The last 3 are always a soft close. 5, 6, and 7 are typically the way, my style. I go in for soft closes. You know, does it make sense for us to be working together? Is there anything that would keep us from working together? Tie downs. Ask them questions that you already know the answer to, but you got to get them to start saying little yeses to get to the big yes, which is the signature on the listing agreement. Here's a good one, the assumptive close. I told you 5, 6, and 7 are my style. I go into every listing. A parade is being thrown in my honor. They love me. They want to work with me. They understand the value and why they're going to pay me 3.5% when this thing closes out. And we're going to offer 3% to the buyer's agent who procures a buyer for their property. I'm worth every penny they're going to pay me. I don't give them closing gifts. Like I told you all Friday, I don't offer closing gifts. I am the gift. You have never paid a divorce attorney. You've never given your divorce attorney a gift. You've never given a heart surgeon a gift. His skill, his expertise is the gift. Your expertise is the gift. You better fine tune your craft and get so good at having conversations. And the mark of a salesman is 3 things. You got to learn how to sell, know who you sell. And let's go back to that. You got to know what you sell, learn everything you can about what you're selling. If you're selling land, you want to get really good at land, get the accreditations and be a good land realtor. Learn what you sell. Learn how to sell, the art of selling. The art of selling. There are tactics that you can use to become a really good salesperson. And then learn who you sell. I always think every time I take a listing, the avatar, who's going to buy this house? Is it going to be a young family? Or am I working in a $1 million price point where it's probably going to be an executive level home? Is it going to be someone who's a transplant buying a horse farm and they're just starting to get their feet wet into the thoroughbred industry? Think about who is going to buy that home and then ask your seller, Mr. Seller, who do you think is going to buy this home? I mean, if they have 3 floors, it's probably not going to be an 80-year-old couple. I can tell you statistically speaking, the one home that commands more money and gets more multiple offers because it has a bigger buyer pool than any other is a ranch home. You are sitting on a gold mine. If you enter the market below price, listing price where you could, it will bring everybody like roaches, I'm telling you, out of the woodwork for that ranch home.
Amen, sister.
All right, so any questions? Ahas. Want everybody speak at once.
Well, while you were talking, this is Denise. While you were talking, I received a phone call and happened to have 2 phones, so I was able to make that phone call back. When I was at the closing table of one of my listings last year, I noticed that the The buyer's agent was very poorly attentive. He was talking to, we had a lawyer at the table as well. It was an estate property. And he talked more to the lawyer than he paid attention to his clients. And I was basically explaining things to the clients when they didn't know what they were looking at when they were signing. So evidently I established a relationship with them then, and I did send them a Christmas card because I knew the address well, and they're right around the corner from me. Well, they just called me about their taxes for this year. So they called me before they called their agent.
There you go.
So that's an aha. Think about it. When you see somebody's not taking care of their folks, make sure to try to take care of them. So I'm not saying that I'll get a sale out of it, but I could get a referral. You never know, but it's to put yourself in a great light when you're before other folks. And I hate that he didn't take care of them. I hated that. It just really annoyed me.
It happens. And I can tell you this, one of my lead pillars is orphan clients. At the beginning of every year, when I send out my little tax letter that has my logo and everything, and I send out a copy of the CD, I send it to the buyer and seller, whether I represented the other side or not. Because if their agent isn't sending it to them, it starts the conversation. And remember, agency goes away at the close of a transaction. I cannot assume that person will work with me again. At the close of a transaction, your duties have went away, and now you have an opportunity to build a relationship. And unfortunately for him, fortunately for you, it's the start of a beautiful thing because his agency relationship went away and they have an opportunity to get a new agent.
Exactly.
People get mad about that, but let me tell you, orphan clients are very real. Start a conversation with them. You're not stealing somebody's client. Their client, that relationship ends at the closing table. It's up to them to stay top of mind so that they do use them and don't entertain anyone else and cheat on you, okay? Does that make sense? I mean, I don't know how else to say it. How do y'all say it? Don't cheat on you?
I love that. It just caught me off guard.
Well, I mean, I get offended when they're cheating on me. It's like my husband. I'm like, what? Did you just cheat on me? Don't tell me you did that. They will. People are not loyal like they used to be in the older generations and just use you even if you didn't have half a brain. People used to be loyal to you just because that was the way of the world. But people are not loyal like they used to be, and don't kid yourself. Stay in front of those clients long after the transaction. Set your calendar. If they had a home warranty, hey, your home, touch them. Say, hey, we sold your home anniversary's coming up. Your home warranty is about to expire. Did you need my help to renew it? Can I connect you with a plumber? Can I connect you with a roofer? I know that house had a little age on it. We talked about that when we signed the seller disclosure. You have to be the knowledge broker. Gotta help these people. Because make no mistake about it, the minute shit hits the fan and something goes awry, they're gonna call you. They're going to call you to complain, so be proactive and call them while things are still good, okay? Any questions? All right, we're moving on. Questions versus objections. When a question is asked, answer it. You're going to get this a lot as I step into Myrna's role. I can promise you that I do not want to be a know-it-all. If I don't know the answer, my answer is this. That's a great question, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. That's a great question, Denise. That's a great question, Mohammed. I wish I knew the answer. Let me make a few phone calls and I'll circle back around. I'll get you the answer. You don't have to know everything. You just have to know the person who can get you the answer for everything. Be a dot connector, okay? Connect people. And if you don't know the answer, do not create liability on your head and fudge it. This isn't a business where you can fake it till you make it legally. If you don't know the answer, acknowledge it. Say, look, that's a great question. And you know I should know the answer. Give me a few minutes to think about it and connect with some people. I'll get back to you. When an objection comes up, address it. Never skirt around it. It's just like Friday, we talked about delivering bad news. If you've just gotten bad news that the buyer's inspection did not go well, and you're getting ready to get hit with a huge repair list, go ahead and be proactive, look through that repair list. Pray for a moment, take a moment, think about things, think through things, put a dollar figure to a 50-cent light switch. Because if you don't approach this when you call the sellers with some unfortunate news and be solution-based before you hit them with the problem, have the solution or a couple solutions lined up and say, look, you know, I've done a little homework before I called you. It looks like we're doing about $2,000 in repairs. And because we got you so much money on the front end, $9,000 over list price, if we agree to these repairs, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, when we agree to these repairs, why do we want to try and work and be agreeable to most repairs? Not all, because some are frivolous, but why? There's a statute of limitations, guys. Long after the closing table and the relationship goes away, someone can still sue someone. Why do we want to help folks understand why repairs are a good thing to ask for and repairs are a good thing to fix? It limits the liability. If you showed, it's always covering your tail through a paper trail, that you tried to help them understand why these repairs were a good thing. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, when we agree to these repairs, we got you $9,000 over. I've already done the math on this. Looks like we've got about $2,000 in ask. So that'll set you back a couple grand, but we still are $7K above the list price, okay? Help them understand why it's a good thing. I used to shy away from repairs because I was just stupid. I was unlearned, I was ignorant of why repairs and money in lieu of repairs is a good thing. Somebody has a product, somebody wants to buy it. You got to be the bridge, put down the next plank and help them get to pass the inspections, get the repairs done. Don't shy away from it. I used to shy away from it. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you guys have any repair lists that you want me to look over any inspection reports or how to compile them in such a way that it is worded and grouped so it doesn't look so big. You group all the electrical together, you group the plumbing together. And a way that you can segue into it, the buyer respectfully requests that the following items be repaired or replaced in a workmanship-like fashion on or before the final walkthrough. Colon. Now, here's the electrical, here's the roof, here's the plumbing items. Group it in such a way that if you were to get it as the listing agent, it makes sense. So you can help the seller make sense of it and be a good buyer's agent. Do not send that whole inspection report. Would you want to have your eyes on the whole inspection report? Send pictures, crop and screenshot and send pictures of the request. So if you've got 3 electrical items, send them a picture of the 3 electrical items in the room it was in. Think about if you're the seller and you're just getting hit up with 42 things and you don't know what room, what they're talking about. You've never even been in your attic, and all of a sudden you have an inspector in your attic and they're telling you these things are wrong. Treat people how you want to be treated. It's the golden rule. It's the preamble to our NAR, our little constitution with the National Association of Realtors, to treat other folks the way you want to be treated. Any questions? I know, squirrel. I got off on a tangent there, but I'm so passionate about helping you guys understand that we are in a business that will pay you a crap load of money and you can leave a lot of memories and legacies behind, but we are also in a very litigious, is that the word? Litigation. There's a lot of liability because you're helping people with quite possibly the biggest financial transaction of their lives. And you can really cause yourself and the brokerage harm by not knowing something. Don't be afraid to ask. Call me. Call Myrna. Call Maria Ganas. Call Miranda. Any of the brokers in our office. Call Michael Prather. You guys need to get really skilled at being a really good salesperson because we're in a sales game. And we got to exercise reasonable care. We got to be loyal to people. We got to keep our mouths zipped. We don't talk about our deals out here in public. That is confidential information. Make sure that you guys are exercising these practices. It will serve you well. Any ahas, takeaways? Do we still have everybody on? Who's on? We got Muhammad, Jill, Denise.
I'm
Cheyenne.
here.
Is Sydney still on?
No, she's gone.
Amanda, are you still here?
She's gone
Yep,
too.
I'm here. Oh, no, I'm
Oh,
here.
sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, it said you left and then you joined again. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
is everyone okay? Anything you can think of while you've got my little brain here working for you? Are you guys learning anything? Is there any nuggets you've already thought of, like, wow, I hadn't thought about that?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. I think you're doing a fantastic job. You're reminding me of everything I need to be thinking of and doing. You know how it is. You get kind of in the ho hum drum.
Sure we
Because I
do.
told you I kind of slowed down last year. Well, I almost came to a stop with everything that I was going through. But yes, that's why I'm here. You're doing a fabulous job. Thank you so much.
Good, I love that. Megan, you had something.
Yeah, the altas to both parties. You're the one you did and the one you didn't.
Autistic, what'd you
No,
say?
your altas.
The altas,
Your
oh,
statement.
I thought she said my
Your
autistic.
closing statement.
Oh, the closing statement. Yeah, get your 36 touch in gear. If you had transactions last year, start with a tax letter to your people. Send both sides a copy of the CD. Well, how do I know the address of each? It's on the CD at the very top. It tells you the seller and the buyer information. Mail them the CD.
You also have their email and their dollars.
Absolutely. I mean, it
You
tells
wanna
you
mail
everybody
them
in the loop.
to the email.
Build that command. 10x your life this year. Play at a high level. I want to be a part of your success. And I'm a wealth of information, maybe of what to do and sometimes what not to do. I'm not afraid to admit it. Ain't none of us perfect. But listen, I am here and I come with a heart to serve you all. I want to help you. Call me, email me, share your victories with me. I want to hear about it. All right, we're moving on. The pre-listing packet, Megan, I may need your help with this because Cheyenne was so good at putting it up here. I just, oh, how do I go back? Where's
Hit
it at?
escape. Escape.
Escape.
Top left.
Oh, look at that. Now,
And then you should be able to share a different screen.
there's what I want to share right there.
This is-
Can I open that up, Cheyenne? Continue, or is that it? Hit continue?
But you'll have to reshare it
That's fine.
because right now we see the purposeful approach still.
Oh.
That's not it.
That I know.
You just hang out with that purposeful approach.
Guys, I don't know everything. I just know a few things. Megan is helping get up my template that I've created on my desktop for my pre-listing packet. We used to say
Is
back
this
in the
it?
day,
Or
I don't,
is this it?
no, I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Is it the
It's
video?
like a
Is that what you're looking
video.
for?
Yeah, yeah,
The video
yeah.
should be on the bottom.
That was it. I saw it earlier when we.
Yeah.
Oh, is it another? Oh, I think that's it. There it is. Oh, that is it. But
is
where's
it-
the video that goes with it? Why does that look weird like that? Well, real quick, guys, I'm just gonna,
Yeah.
that is,
in
you can
the-
X out of that.
What is going?
Hold that thought, guys. Okay, that's okay. Go ahead and just go back to our slideshow. I've got it here physically with me, so never fear. Crystal is here.
You just show it to the camera.
Yep, I'm gonna show it to the camera. And after this is over, how many of you received my email I sent out yesterday of my buyer consultation who attended Friday? Did you get it? Nobody
Yes.
responded, so.
No, I didn't get it.
You didn't?
No.
I
would-
copied everybody's email and put it in the thing.
Honey, I'll get that to you. My apologies, Mohammed, because you were the very first person at the top of that email, so I don't know why I didn't transpose.
No,
But
it's
for the
fine,
rest
no
of-
worries.
What's that?
No, I said no worries.
Okay, well, I'm also, if, for those of you, Cheyenne, you can put everyone, send me an email with everyone's email addresses. I'm happy to share my pre-listing packet, what it contains, and then my video template. I'll add that into the email I send you, just so you can get in front of a ring light or a little tripod like what's in front of me now, and you can create a little template video that will go out every time before you go into a listing presentation. Why is a pre-listing packet good? You're priming the pump. You're already making a case for why they're gonna hire you. You will up your conversion just because you gave a pre-listing packet. We used to live in an era where you could, we could do snail mail and have it delivered. We don't have the luxury of time anymore. So you have got to have a really good information, good email from them, and prime the pump with a really good pre-listing packet. So real quick, now you got to be careful what you send in this, and I'm going to caution you, because at the end of the day, if you are competing for an expired listing, you're going to get some top names that are well known in our industry on an expired or for sale by owner, and they're interviewing multiple agents. You want to leave items of value behind in the email, or when you leave the property after a good listing interview. You want to leave some items of value behind, but you do not want to leave anything behind that someone like myself would say, oh, do you mind if I take a copy of that? I can't tell you how many beautiful trade secrets folks have left behind, and the seller's like, sure, I don't need it. I was gonna throw it in the trash. Be careful what you leave behind. You want to leave items of value. You don't want to leave your recipe or your playbook behind, okay? So be careful about that. So there's some things that I'm going to do to prime the pump to up my conversion, and I'll send you the email about this later, my template, the video, and then the little slides that I send them. But leading up to it, I just give them a face, who they're going to be meeting, and I'm going to give them a copy of our mission statement here at the CG Group, what we believe in our unique selling proposition. This is super important. The next thing that I'm going to leave behind for them is what we offer them. This is just a little expansive paragraph about what we're going to do for them, how we're going to help them achieve their goal of getting the property sold, okay? The next thing is you want to separate yourself. My listing presentation, I can promise you, is not mirrored in many ways by many listing agents. And let me explain. Many listing agents go into a listing with their interest at heart. I go into a listing presentation wanting to do right by the seller, and sometimes doing right by the seller doesn't mean that they are looking for a traditional listing. So I want to let them know that up front, that I've got your interest. In fact, it may mean not hiring me. I may have an iBuyer for your property. I may have an auctioneer. It may be an auctioneer situation. Do you know you can make a crap load more money on an auction by partnering with an auctioneer on a property than you can a traditional listing? True story, I've done it. And then the traditional listing route. So be a person who gives them solutions, because not everybody needs or wants to list traditionally. You got to be the source, okay? You can still make money on all of these ventures, okay? Do you want to have that in your back pocket? You will create a degree of separation if you go into it being a person who can give them some more options outside of a traditional listing. Did somebody have a question? Somebody was
No, we're talking.
Sorry.
We're talking in the chat about I'm forwarding everybody your buyer presentation.
Okay. And then I create a little social proof. I talk about some different properties that I've just recently sold. They are relevant. These can't be from 42 years ago, like your headshot. Guys, make sure you keep an updated list and you're swapping out pictures and addresses. I also create more social proof. I want them to know, like, and trust me and Google me before they get there and make an informed decision of what I think they already should be doing, which is to list the property with me. The next thing I'm going to do is give them real-time people that they can look up on Facebook. And these aren't fake. These are actual copy and paste from my Google My Business page or my Keller Williams website that we have through Command. And then I give them the high points of the selling roadmap. 10 points in a poem on how we're going to get their property. We're going to walk through it when I get to their home, when they choose to list their property with me. Do we have any questions about that? All right, also real quick, and this is a little book. If you guys don't have these little books, we have them here. You can just get Jeffrey to open the cabinet. He'll charge you like $1 for each of these. These are items of value that I leave behind, including my little business card that is inside the little inset here in this little folder that we have here in our horseshoe at the brokerage in the cabinets that are locked up. And I leave items of value behind. There's some things that I'm going to leave behind after the listing presentation, after they've hired me. There's some things I'm going to leave behind. I'm probably going to ask them. I'm going to create a honey-do list, some spring cleaning. These are the folks that I know, like, and trust. I've used in my own home. I know they won't charge my clients an arm and a leg, and they'll give my clients really good service and attention. So I have a set of lenders and vendors that I use, and I leave this sheet behind for them because I'm going to ask them to start doing some things to prepare the way for a great sale. The next thing that I'm going to leave behind is this. I talked about this Friday in the buyer consultation. Be the source of the source. While we can't talk about the school systems, we can't talk about steering and getting people towards unfavorable or certain zip codes or people's nationalities, those kinds of things. You want to be able to give people this. Why are you giving them this when they list a property? Because 9 times out of 10, someone has to sell in order to buy. You're priming the pump for when they work with you as a buyer's agent. You're holding their hand on the sale. You're holding their hand on the buy. So you're already giving them information for how to make an informed decision when they buy a home with you after they sell their home with you. Another thing, I have this same sheet printed up for buyers. I changed the wording around because I'm putting myself now in the perspective of the seller's agent. I want them to understand that someone will probably inspect their home. They're going to find some things wrong with it. They're going to find some things deficient. I am already future pacing them for a repair list. And why a repair list is a good thing. Statute of limitations, we're limiting our liability. I want to make a case for why they may ask us for $300 to $500 worth of repairs and why they're going to do it. All right. This is the staging prep list. These are the things they can be doing when we get ready to show the house. Little things like making sure all the blinds are flush, making sure the curtains are open, making sure that no burnout light bulbs are over the vanity and there's only 2 lights out of 6 that are working. These are the little things. And this is your degree of separations. This is where the difference between a baller and someone who is an amateur. You're playing at a high level. I'm going to help you guys get really good. Then I have an actual prep list for the day of pictures. These are things that are good to know. I'm going to send this to you guys. This is the lender checklist. Why do you think this is good? We go back to 9 times out of 10, they're going to probably choose you. If you're a good listing agent, they're going to choose you and you're going to get another 3% for helping them buy a home. So they're probably buying and selling at the same time because they need the money out of that house to buy the next house. So you should have a lender list so they can go ahead and get pre-approved, good for 90 days, your lender list. So you got a lender list, a vendor list, a quick staging and home cleaning list, decluttering list. You are, what else did we have in here? The inspection process, I'm future pacing them for what the inspection and the repairs that could happen. And then another thing that's going to be important, this is so good. Jesse Harden is a good friend of mine. He and I have a deal going right now. He's a very good lender. This is, and I'm going to send this to you guys. Why is this important? What will pass VA and FHA during the appraisal? Much like that inspection sheet I just showed you, I'm future pacing them that they may have to fix the handrail. They may have to fix a cracked window, not because of the inspection, but because the appraiser marked it as a condition of the loan to close. So they can see for themselves what a lender is going to be looking at and an appraiser when it's time for their property to be appraised. So I'm going to leave all these items of value behind. Remember, I'm not leaving the playbook and my listing presentation behind. I'm simply leaving them because I am the source of the source. And I want to come from a place of contribution. Any questions about the pre-listing packet that goes out by email? Unmute yourselves if you have a question, if you have any concerns about that.
I really like that you're preparing them for the future, like
You better
getting them
be.
pre-approved and talking about the inspection and what to expect, because it's just as important with your sellers as it is with your buyers, but a lot of people forget about that.
Absolutely, it is too late when you are hit up with 47 items to the tune of $5,000 to go back and educate. You better educate them on the front end. Remember, a listing agent, you are making your money for all of the hard work on the front burner. The buyer's agent is doing all the hard work on the back. You come together, you build a bridge, and you get your respective clients to the closing table. Denise, did you say something? Does
No, I'm
anybody-
sorry. I didn't know I was on unmute.
Okay, does anybody have any questions that's on with us still? I'm looking at the list here. Anything anybody wants to say? Megan, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I have a question. Why, so in your buyer presentation, you give them like a glossary almost, like what's an appraisal, what's an
I try not to, I don't give out a glossary, but I do have one of my slides in there. I have that same slide you just saw about the inspection process. I have it worded through the eyes of a buyer's agent in my buyer consultation. So I tell them, look, there's 3 things we can't ask for. The 3 things, if you read any of your IAs, your inspection agreement forms, 3 things you can't ask a seller to fix. You can't ask them to fix cosmetic imperfections, the paint on the wall, the carpet on the floors. You can't ask them to fix anything they've already declared they know to be a defect of the home. And we can't ask them to fix anything or bring it up to code unless that code bleeds over into a safety, somebody's gonna die or get killed issue. Are we, I was gonna say, are we crystal clear, but that's probably, are we? That was so dumb. Are we clear? Are we clear, ladies, gentlemen?
Yes. Did you, were you gonna, go through your pre-listing, packet that you send out, or I think you sent a video?
Yeah, no, that was it. I can't get the video to pull up. I'll send it
Okay.
to you after class in the next 48 hours, because I gotta fly out to Florida in the morning. I'll send it to you guys like I did the buyer consultation. I'll send you my pre-listing video template along with the left side of this folder as all the things that are priming the pump before I get there. And then I'm gonna send you a separate email of all the items of value that I leave behind at the coffee table or for them when I leave. I don't leave my playbook, my listing presentation, I leave items of value. So on my left side, this is the slides I'm gonna send you along with my video template that I'm excited to meet them. I'm looking forward to working with them and helping them get the home sold in a timely manner. And then all the items of value. So you'll get a couple emails from me over the next probably 2 to 3 days when I get a chance to breathe and decompress and send all of these out. It'll be a delayed reaction. Now we're going to get into the actual listing interview. I don't call it a listing presentation. It is a listing interview, because make no mistake about it, this is a job interview. You have one opportunity to make a good impression. Make it a good one. Polish yourselves. Sit in front of a video camera, sit in front of your phone and videotape yourself talking through your lookbook. I call this my little lookbook because story time, when you were in school, you used to have someone come read to you. I do the same thing with my sellers. I have my lookbook and I have 2 more I keep in my realtor bag that I give to the Mr. and Mrs. or the Mr. and Mr. or the Mrs. and Mrs. I give to them when we go through it at the listing interview time. So just real quick, and I do have to be jetting out very soon. I want to make sure we give adequate enough time for us to talk through scenarios, any questions, whatever's important to you. But I want to get into the meat and potatoes of the listing interview process. And I keep a lookbook. We talked about this Friday, but in case you weren't on the buyer consultation Ignite Zoom, the reason why that I have a lookbook personally is I believe that the window is the eye to the soul. And this is a good visual representation of what I'm telling them. The other reason I have a lookbook, and I have 2 for the Mr. and Mrs. or the Mr. and Mr. or Mrs. and Mrs. or whatever they are that I'm presenting to. I have 2 copies for them because I tend to get really flush when I talk because my blood pressure kind of elevates in an excitement manner, not because I'm nervous. I think you guys know by now I'm not nervous. I can talk to anybody about anything because I know who I am and I know who made me and I know what I'm talking about. Okay? And when I don't talk, it's because I don't know what I'm talking about and I'm going to shut up and listen. So, yeah, I get flushed, I get excited, and I noticed that about myself because I videotape myself enough to know that all of my chest and neck get really flushed and I get all these like splotches all over. So I try and fade the heat. I have them looking at their own lookbook and they're looking back and we're talking and they see a visual representation of all the things, because I'm gonna make a case for why they should work with me and our team so that I can get a yes and I can get the contract signed. That's what this is all about. Are there any questions so far in the pre-listing process, the template video I'm gonna send to you, the items of value that you leave behind, getting the appointment, everything up until now? Unmute yourselves and let's hear it real quick before I get into the listing interview.
This is minor, but I didn't receive anything last week, so I sent
You
my
didn't get the
email
buyer
to you.
consultation?
No, I sent my email to you in the chat.
Okay, thank
Okay,
I'm
you.
thank
forwarding it to you right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did everybody else get the buyer consultation that was on last week? I got it. Okay, great. Who do we have on? Lakin, Jill, and we said this was Amanda, Muhammad. Anybody have any questions? Anything that you do that we could learn from?
Then the last listing presentation that I went on with you, you know, I liked how you really like, you know, let's help you clean, you know, and just the little tips and tricks to kind of help them get across the finish line, to kind of like wrap their head around all that needs to be done. Like you had everything set up and ready for them to go. All they had to do was, you know, pass go, you know, collect their $200.
Yeah, Jill and I, we went on a listing presentation last week over in 40517 and it smelled like pure shit.
Oh my gosh, so bad.
It was bad. I mean, like, but I came solution based. Solution based, I have a tile guy who's gonna clean that grout, get rid of big dog stuff. And we're gonna get the carpets, we're gonna get your hardwoods addressed. And we are going to change out this, this, and this. You go in and you command the room after you've asked a lot of good questions.
And who's gonna pay for that cleaning?
Jill will tell you, I offered it up front and I made it very clear when, not if. I made it very clear to the gentleman that when we close, I'll expect to be reimbursed on top of the 3.5% listing.
Awesome.
Is that right, Jill?
Yes, ma'am. That didn't even occur to me that I could offer that up. I had no problem with that. Like it
Yeah,
just,
I have no problem putting my money where my mouth is.
Yeah.
Because I know it will sell because they're gonna listen to me and we're going to act as an opening bid and go below the market and everybody's gonna wanna buy our listing.
I'm about ready to head out to Frankfurt to see, you know, a woman who I helped her father find a home last year. Now, to get in the house, I've said, hey, I got my heavy duty industrial carpet cleaner. Let me drop it off and let's talk turkey, you know? Like, so I'm dropping off I gotta schedule it to drop it off, but that's, you know, just having that little extra bit of help, you know?
Amazing, amazing. You want to help people understand the possibility. Don't lay a bunch of bad news on their lap. Give them the vendor list. If you have the money, I have the money. I don't mind to put my money up front. I'm gonna get it back from them at the closing table. I'm gonna get a personal check from them. They can Venmo me. Plus I'm gonna get my 3.5% and the $2.99 transaction fee. You will too. I'm gonna help you. Any questions? All right, we're gonna be moving on. Nobody? All right, so we're gonna get into our little handy dandy lookbook. We're gonna take off your realtor hat for a moment. You're gonna pretend you're in the 4th grade and that a celebrity has come to talk to the class and read a book today. All right, so
I have a stupid question before you start.
oh yeah.
You keep calling this your lookbook, so you don't leave it?
No, I don't want Michael Prather looking at it when he comes behind me.
But you're gonna send it to all of us. No. So
Oh,
you
no. There's a difference. There is wisdom, a lot of wisdom among the top earners, producers here in our brokerage. And we share in a spirit of collaboration. I'm here to help you guys. I'm helping you to get good. I told you on Friday that God gave me a vision. When I was flying into Bluegrass Airport about a year or two ago, I looked out the window and God said, there's enough business for everybody. Do you know how many hundreds of thousands of acres there are in the central Kentucky area? There's enough of the pie for you and for me. And I want to share my roadmap to success. I want to help you guys get good, because when you get good and you become profitable, our brokerage is profitable. I want to minimize your liability and help you earn a lot of money. That's the goal.
We appreciate that. So
You
you do this, but you take it back with you.
Oh, yeah, my lookbook, I just recycle this thing. I wipe it off every few times with a few bleach wipes, and I collect theirs. It's just a lookbook, and that same 2 lookbooks, I collect it. Give me the books, pass your test up to the teacher. I put it in my realtor bag, and I go on to the next appointment, and I take them with me. I do not leave my playbook behind.
Okay.
I leave it for you all, and I'll get it to you in the next few days by email. But I do not leave it behind so that another agent who is looking to interview with them sees my information. They're the competition, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Any questions? Are we ready to get started? All right, lookbook. So they see the shining face here. Ah. And listen, real quick, side note, I am wearing my blue coat today. I love this coat. It just, blue is royalty, it's power, and I want them to know that I am the professional and I look just like the picture. You guys really want, you've got one opportunity to get it right. Look the part, smell the part, brush your teeth, put some deodorant on, take your shoes off at the door, have your car washed because they're going to be peeking through the window, show up a few minutes early, don't be late. Treat this as a $10,000 interview, because it is. If someone told you right now they were going to give you $10,000, but oh, by the way, you got to go put on a pair of high heels and you got to brush your teeth and you got to look like the photo you portray online, you should treat it that way. All right. So then I go into the things that they should have, a few of the things they should have already have seen, but I understand sometimes they haven't even opened up that email. So if they haven't, and they say, oh, I saw it in the email, good. We're moving on. But if they haven't, they will listen. They won't stop you if they haven't read it. And they'll allow you to talk. You're going to build some social and some street cred here. So I get into my client testimonials. If they didn't read the pre-listing where I was trying to prime the pump, I go into recent sales. If you don't have any sales, use the office sales, okay? If you're on a team and you're the new kid on the block, use your team sales. Use our numbers. That's the beautiful thing about our company, is you can borrow any of the stats and you still look like a star. This is super good right here. And Jeffrey was so kind to oblige and get me the most current one. It shows, and this is great if you have a super analytical. Friday, we talked about the disc. We talked about the 4 personalities. And if you are presenting to a person who is analytical, they love being inundated with stats. But this, you're still building proof right now, making a case for why they should hire you. And right here between our combined market centers, we took more of Central Kentucky listings and buyers than any other brokerage last year. By leaps and bounds. This number 2, we are double their volume. That's why they should be working with us. If nothing else, because of clout. Everybody knows the red and black symbol, okay?
Can you send that to us or get Jeffrey to?
Absolutely, yes, I have it and it's in here, so I'll scan everything and send it to you. I love that. That's amazing.
Thank
so then
you.
I just go in like I would if I was interviewing for a traditional W-2 job as the president of a company. I have my face here and I have my stats. I have some accolades, some awards. Don't fabricate things. And if you don't have something, that's okay. Again, use your team stats. Talk about what you do outside of real estate. People need to see you're a human. Just so happens I'm here on my leadership and awards. I was in the top, I still am in the top producers club. Last year, made the Home Snap Top 5% Award. I won the Keller Williams Jimmy Fields Cultural Icon Award, the Keller Williams Silver, Gold, and Bronze Awards. Those of you who know what those are, you get the medallions and you get the big ribbons. I have those in the office. And this year's top 150 of the 4,000 realtors in all of our MLS, I was in the top 150. So we talk about what my background is in senior care, that I was an administrator of a nursing home, and how I can help them. What's that?
That's why we did.
What's that? We like old people? Okay. I'm married to one. And then I talk about what my future aspirations is. At transitioning into the principal broker role here at Keller Williams, and how I am here to be everyone else's cheerleader and to be a mentor and a coach to you to be a part of your success. Then I talk about meeting the team. I give a little blurb and what I feel each of our team members brings to them and how it relates to the transaction. This is my daughter. She runs a lot of my marketing and back end for me and all of my command. She works for a mega KW team up in the Indianapolis area called the Ken Carey team. And she looks like a little flight attendant here. She's so adorable. I mean, she is 4'11", and I'm telling you, she was not just a quick.
6'2".
Let me tell you something about this kid. She's 25 and just got married, and she's smarter right now than I will probably ever be in my life. And I'm not saying it because she's my child. She's astute. She pays attention. She's a sponge. She listens more than she talks, and she makes me look like a star in my marketing. So I'm really proud of her, and I talk about Phil and Jill and Wendy and how wonderful they are to our team and what their strengths are. And why am I doing this as a team leader? For those of you who are on teams, as a team leader, it's not me. I'm telling them how they will benefit because they may see one of their faces holding their house open. This may be who holds their open house. They need to put a face to it. I'm future pacing them, okay? It's all about setting the expectation of what's going to happen and unfold next. Are there any questions about that? Is everybody left? Muhammad, are you okay? Lakin?
Yeah, I'm enjoying this.
Good.
Same
Like-
here.
Good. And so then I just give a couple group pictures. Now, this is the part of it all. We've built this street cred. We've talked about some statistics, what Keller Williams can do, how much clout we have. Now it's time to get in and talk about 5 things. We're going to talk about the drivers and lay a case for our pricing strategy, and then the ask for them to sign the listing agreement. So I talk about their goals. My goals are to get your home sold for the best price and the best terms possible, and in the time frame that works for you. And then I say that, is there anything else? And that's when they will stop you. Allow them to stop you. You want to be a human and empathetic and here in that moment, what else is important to them? Maybe I don't want to sell it fast. Maybe my grandma, I mean, what are we going to do? How am I going to get the dogs out and Fluffy and grandma when we start to show the house? Be a human, acknowledge them, be direct, take a mental note, listen. They will give you the playbook. All right, so we get into the 5 factors of selling. Notice that by design, price is last because the first 4 are going to make a case for why we're going to price it the way we're going to price it. I get into the location, condition, marketing. Number 3 is everything that you're going to do. They only care about, sellers care about 2 things, what you're going to put in their pocket and what you're going to do for them. You better have a plan for what you're going to do for them. Supply and demand will affect their price, and then the price. All 4 things lead to number 5, which is the price, and me laying out the comps and why we should go with my strategy for going under market and acting as an opening bid so we create multiple offers. Location, that's the first point that we start with, and I break down location. How many of you ever heard, and this is what I tell sellers, how many of you ever heard that 3 things in real estate: location, location, location? That's why some houses that sit on Miami Beach command a premium dollar, and why something in 40508 does not. You can have a beautiful home, it can show well, you can make it available at all times to be shown, but you can never physically pick up the home and change its location. Remember, you're priming the pump and future pacing them for why the price is going to be priced the way it is, and it all starts with where it's sitting. You'll learn this in real estate. It's immovable. You can't pick it up. It is where it is. Your pricing better be indicative of where it's located. Condition. Part of an item of value I'm going to leave behind in my folder is the declutter list. What we're going to do, our vendor list of who is going to help them get it in tip-top shape to yield the most money when we hit the market. The next thing is the marketing. This is where we get into that third point. This is all the stuff I'm going to do for you, because they care about how much money you're going to put in their pocket and how much you're going to do for them. So I'm going to spend a lot of time on that third point of what I'm doing for them. Okay, we're going to get into social media, advertising. Perhaps it's a high-end horse farm. Perhaps they want their property to go into print. I can tell you I've been in publications from old houses to Circa to old listings to Sip and Saddle to Bit and Bridle to Easy Rider. Wherever my property, if it's a niche property, I'm going to have to put a lot more money on the front end to market that property. And this is what Keller Williams we talk about. It's not really the way I approach it, but you hear a lot of times in our company, most people do the 3 Ps, but I do 4. Well, I do 4, and I put my money where my mouth is. A lot of my clients, high-end and farms and luxury listings go into print advertising, and it is not cheap, but it commands a lot more money on payday. You get addicted to those $30,000 and $40,000 paychecks, I can promise you. All right, so then we're gonna get into open houses. Don't give them any illusion that the open house is the end all be all. Remember I told you when I talk about my goals here, I ask them, wait a minute, and I tell them, is there anything else that's important to you right here? They may not want an open house. Why? Maybe the Sabbath is sacred to them. I had a client who was Jewish recently, and she don't like do business or conduct business like on Saturday evening through Sunday or Friday night through Saturday or something. Listen, we have to esteem what is important to other folks, and what's important to you and your goals aren't always important to them. They may have a fear because they've got a lot of collectibles or firearms out. They don't want a bunch of strangers in their home all at once. Perhaps Sunday is church day and football day. They may not want that. You have to listen to them. It's there if they want it, okay? We have to be the face of options. That's it. This is important, and I will give this to you guys when I email you over the next few days. This is something I can actually leave with them. This is how, I'm not going to tell them this, but this is how we collect leads at our open houses. And this is, I take a picture of this before I leave the open house. If I have 10 clipboards sitting there with a pen ready to go, they do a survey. This is the open house equivalent of showing time. Showing feedback right here happening in real time. If we get 20 people and I can get 10 people to give us some good feedback on your house, you're going to lay out a case for why you shouldn't have listed too high to begin with. It's been on the market 1 week. We've done an open house and everybody says it's overpriced or it's filthy. This is part of my open house strategy and how we collect leads. So it kills 2 birds in 1 stone. You collect a new buyer lead. You're giving showing feedback. Hey, these don't lie, okay? This is so good. This is when I do follow-up Friday with my sellers and I need to get a price improvement, I'm going to remind them of the showing feedback. We talk about this. Do you guys know that because we are partnered with America's Home Preferred Home Warranty, we can put listing coverage on the home for free? And I tell them, I take a moment to talk about listing coverage. Why is that important? One, it's important on a home that has some aging systems. It's important if they are asked to fix something during the inspection period for a little $75 deductible, that could save the deal. Maybe before the final walkthrough, the hot water heater breaks, and for a $75 deductible, we can get a new hot water heater in there, and we just write an addendum that this new hot water heater is to be installed to survive the closing up to a week from now. It is free to literally call America's Preferred Home Warranty. Every time I get a listing signed, I'm on the phone with America's Preferred Home Warranty, and they get free listing coverage. It is transferable. That's the words I use, at the option of the buyer at closing. So it don't transfer to the buyer, but you keep yourself safeguarded, and the agent only remarks or marketing remarks that a home warranty coverage is on the property. It is transferable at the option and cost of the buyer. That way you're not on the hook to buy somebody the warranty that you're already getting for free on the listing side when it closes. Listing coverage is on the property. It is transferable at the option and cost to the buyer. Okay? Any questions about that?
Yes, is that nationwide? I just wonder, because the people that I refer out, I'm wondering if when I refer them, then I could tell them that.
Emily Doyle is our rep. Her business card is hanging on the back wall through the back gate here. When you come in,
Okay.
of all of our vendors, text Emily Doyle. That's a great
Ask her.
question piece. And
Okay.
I'm interested in learning that myself. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I never even thought of that.
That's
but,
good though.
getting
We're
more
gonna get
referrals.
we're gonna get into the photography. I'm trying to go along quickly so that I can make it to these photos of these rentals I got coming on the market. We get into professional photography. The eye is the window to the soul, and I spend a lot of time making a case for why we do not want cell phone pictures. You have 4 money shots, is the way I look at it on Zillow, when the wife is scrolling late at night and they are working with their realtor to buy a home. We've got 4 pictures for them to heart it and love it and want to call their realtor to schedule a showing on your listing. Pictures are crucial. They say a million things about a property. Any questions about that? They're on my vendor list. The photos, I don't want to spend too much time on it here, but I hammer down on it. Because if I have a property that's 100 acres, I make a case for how much I'm going to put on photos and video. You can have a branded and unbranded version. You can create a YouTube page for their property. We can take this as far as we need to with photography, but they need to understand the power of aligning themselves with you, decluttering and getting that home prepared for really good photos, highlight boundary photos. I'm amazed at how many residential realtors will go list a really nice home that sits on some beautiful acreage, and they spend so much time talking about the house, they never talk about the benefits and features of the land itself, the barn, the fence, the fact that it's sitting on a septic. Get really skilled at what you are representing. It goes back to knowing what you sell, who you sell, and how to sell. You get good at those 3 things and your hourly rate will go up to $2,000, $3,000 an hour. Become skilled, be the top of your profession.
Yes, I have somebody that has 3 classic cars so we're looking for a 4-car garage on property, and I have to search for it. I found them, but I have to search for it. They don't list it in the listing comments.
That's crazy. We're doing ourselves this service if we don't highlight everything that property is. Do you know that certain properties, residential properties, qualify for a sister or a baby listing as a subcategory in the MLS? It can also be called a farm. So if someone is searching for farms, they may miss it if it's only under the residential section. You can do that. It's a real thing. I'm going to help you get good at that.
Can I also say something about those pictures, those cell phone pictures?
Yeah.
If there's somebody new in there, I think Ali is in there. Those cell phone pictures are terrible to look at on your phone. They are so tiny, and you can't get any type of, there's no type of definition in them, so you can't really get a bead on what they are.
True story.
And yeah, I don't really skip over them, but they're the last ones that I go to when I'm looking to show properties. And they could be the greatest, you know?
Yeah, but because they didn't give a really good representation of the property, it's a shame.
Right.
Because we do over a $300 purchase.
Right.
Seriously.
Right.
And shameless plug, Megan is in the room. She's on the Shelley Patterson team. She also runs a photography company as well. I've used her and she's amazing. She keeps it really simple. You can get the photos like about 24 hours later and you just click the little pay here button. And I think $150, $200, $250, she will take really good photos of your property. I promise you. We talk about listing syndication. This is a set it and forget it. This will syndicate just because we belong to Bluegrass Realtors. Our membership alone affords our sellers the opportunity for maximum exposure because it syndicates to Trulia, Zillow, List Hub, and all of these IDX feeds. That's huge.
Not to mention all of the KW exposure for out of state.
Yes, absolutely. It's on the KWLS. So guys, remember that you hammer down on listing syndication. They aren't going to get that kind of exposure with a little for sale by owner sign in their yard. You are the answer to their prayers. We just need to help them understand that you are. Scheduling. This is super important. Everybody likes control. I don't always give my sellers control. I give them the illusion of control. And here's what I tell them. Look, you know your schedule better than I do. You can get grandma and Fluffy out of the house and I can put you in charge, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, of your own showing request. I just need your cell phone and you will know that you've got showings lined up at 2 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. Why am I doing that? I'm future pacing them for the fact that I don't want to field all the calls. Make them work for your listing. Put their number in there and make them in charge of their own showings. I don't have time to be declining and accepting and coordinating with them. It's just one more layer and one more step. Your time is money. Value your own time and get really good at working smarter, not harder. Make them be in charge of their own showings. Social media and print advertising. Again, this is super popular on niche properties, the high end. If you have ever sold a historic home, I sold one last year. It was the oldest building in all of Woodford County. It was built in the late 1700s and was built in 3 eras between the early 1800s and early 1900s. And we had to put a lot of money on the front end to market it to specialty websites and print advertising. You may have to do that from time to time. You want to get in here and explain the market that as supply goes up and demand goes down. Right now, we have an imbalance in the market. We have very little inventory to choose from and 7 buyers for every 1 house. And Mr. and Mrs. Seller, tonight, when you list your house with me, if we price it right, it's in a great location, and we prepare it for the sale and have great photos, we will get you multiple offers. We will get you multiple offers. I talk about the pricing. What determines the price? Because their kids grew up and they spent 42 Christmases in that house, nobody gives a flying fiddle about it. That does not sell a house. That does not determine the price. It is the perception of value in the eyes of the buyer, much like the Lincoln Navigator that has a crank seat, crank windows, no premium sound, no leather seats, no heated seats, no backup camera, and then for $1,000 more, they go across Lexington and they find one that has all of those things. They will buy the other Lincoln Navigator. I keep going into the price. This is how much they can expect to get. List to sell price ratio, the longer it sits on the market. That loaf of bread is getting stale. We have one opportunity to get it right, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Let's do the right thing and price it right tonight. Let's price it right tonight. The process. I go over the whole process, start to finish, that tonight we're going to sign the listing agreement. Tonight we're going to sign the listing agreement. Okay? We are doing subtle nuances. We're mirroring and matching. If they are sitting back and this is very casual to them, I'm sitting back with my lookbook and this is very casual to them. If they're intent and serious and all up in my grill, I'm all up in their grill and serious. I'm mirroring and matching them. We want them to like us and trust us. And we got to pay attention to how they are conducting, their rate of speech, the tonality in their voice. Do they fluctuate? Do they go up and down? Are they very monotone and dry eyes kind of guy? Sure, I'd be happy to do that for you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. You got to mirror match them. You want them to like you. You want them to trust you, and you want them to sign the listing contract with you. Is there any questions? Now, I've laid out a case with what I'm gonna do for them. Now it's time to talk about what money, because those are the two things they care about, what you're gonna do for them and how much money you're gonna put in their pocket. You've laid out a compelling case for why they should work and align themselves with you and do business with you. Now it's time to deliver the numbers, and the numbers don't lie. Very simply, I run a detailed private page LBAR detail report on the 3 properties that are most like theirs in a close proximity. And I already have it highlighted for how many days it was on the market, list the sell price ratio, all the goodies that were offered, square footage that was offered, because if their house, and I leave this with them, I leave my comps with them. That's not special information. I'm shopping out the same pool of data as Michael Prather is or an appraiser is. I'm not bashful to leave behind and be the messenger of the message. If they are not ready to commit to you and list at the price that you know will cause it to sell, leave it with them. Make them pray on it and sleep on it. They're going to start to look at everything you highlighted. I highlight days on market, square footage, the lot size, if they've got an extra heating method like a wood burning stove, if they have a big pole barn, like a big man cave or she shed, if they have a one of those big shops where you can put an RV or a boat. I list all the goodies, that Lincoln Navigator, and why they ain't got the goodies, but all the other ones that sold in front of them for $10,000 more had more goodies. So we got to price it $10,000 less because we ain't got the goodies. Okay, we're basic. I also show them the comps that I ran on the PVA. I am amazed at how many realtors that only rely on Flex MLS to get their comps. If you do not know how to run comps on the PVA, arm's length transactions in their neighborhood, you better get skilled at it. I'm amazed at how many people say there's no comps. It's because you're only looking on Flex. You need to be looking on your respective PVA and seeing what has traded hands around them. There's a lot of private sales out there that happen all the time, arm's length transactions that happen, and they were never listed with a realtor. They're a good comp. Get skilled at that. And now we're going to start talking about agency, the consumer guide. I'm going to tell them the different ways they can be represented by a realtor, by a brokerage, by a team, the fair housing, and how I get paid. The next thing is I talk about the exclusive right to sell, the terms of the contract, and the $299 transaction fee. When you work with me, everything is being stored in the cloud. We're going to dot the I's and cross the T's. And at closing, you'll see this as an itemized line, okay, on your CD, your final closing statement. That's it, guys. Do you guys have any questions? Oh, everybody speak at once.
I would love to be a fly on the wall when you deal with different people. Like you're talking about, like, if they're up in your face, I'm gonna be up in your face. I would love to be a fly on the wall when you deal with some people.
Jill's been with me on some fun ones, haven't you, Jill?
Sorry, I was still muted. Yes, I often write down the things that she says because I just freaking love them.
Well, I'm not always the example of what to do. Perhaps I'm sometimes the example of what not to do, but hopefully you understand the heart from which I come and that you understand I'm rooting for you. I want to help you guys, pick my brain. I don't know everything. I know a few things, but we are surrounded by some amazing minds who've been doing this double, triple the amount of time that I've been in the business the last 7 years. And we have to pick each other's and mastermind each other's brains from time to time. And we have so many wonderful agents and a great current principal broker in Myrna who is to be revered, and she knows a lot. So please reach out to anyone in our office. Don't be afraid to ask for help. We all have been new at some point. We all needed help. We're all here to help each other. None of us are better than the other. We all had to put our pants and our underwear on the same way. Hopefully you're wearing underwear. We all had to do that activity today. And the one thing that makes us all, the one thing we all share in common is we all bleed red. I don't care what your background is, your age, the color of your skin. I don't care what your nationality is. I don't care what my seller's nationality is. They are a human, they have a heart, and they bleed just like I do. And your job is to understand their perspective, ask a lot of good questions, and guide them to a decision that makes the most sense for their life. Lakin, did I scare you? Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I definitely am, like, it was a lot of information, but good information. I've only been on one listing presentation before, so
Okay.
I don't have a lot of experience in that, but definitely some good information. And you were cracking me up too. I just love your vibe. I would let you sell anything. I would trust you to sell anything. I
Well,
love it.
there's a lot of people that hire me to work, and I wish they wouldn't have, because I don't like them once I get there. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this is what the hand I am dealt with, but here we are. So you're
Yeah.
gonna have those people, but at the end of the day, and I've always heard this said, and I think it's true, sometimes we want a transaction to close because we know what it means to the client. And sometimes we want it to close just because we want the headache to go away.
Yeah.
And you'll have that in your career. Sometimes you want it to close for them, but sometimes you want it to close for you.
Mhm.
But you guys the world is an open canvas for you guys to write the story of your life and to help a lot of people do a lot of wonderful things. And every day that God gives us the opportunity to have a beating heart and a breath, we have an opportunity to help people make really good decisions, And sometimes it's not that we don't list the property, it's just not right now. And you have to be okay with not right now. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. They sleep on it and it's not the right time. But they'll circle back around if you continue to stay in touch. And when the time is right and you have been there following up, they will call you. Mohammed, any insight?
I'm really enjoying it. This is by far one of my favorite class so far.
Good. Jill, any questions?
No, I hear you give this presentation, I think a couple times, but I get something new every single time.
Good. Well, I think you guys, I could be wrong, but I think you guys are gonna get an expert tomorrow, right? Is Myrna Downing, our current principal broker? She's gonna be teaching you guys tomorrow. So make sure you tell her how wonderful I was. I'm just kidding. Make sure that you, please show up for Myrna. Myrna drops diamonds constantly, and I don't even know that she realizes she does it. She does it. Is that the right? Does it? Gotta get good at that.
It's a Kentucky thing.
Yeah, it really is.
The way we used it and
So make sure you guys attend Myrna Downing's class tomorrow on working with buyers and sellers. There could not be a more relevant class right now because again, 7 buyers for every 1 listing. Most folks have to sell in order to perform and buy. How to hold their hand succinctly in the domino effect of selling, putting the right document in place so that they're protected and don't go homeless the minute they get an offer and get excited, because you got to put a seller document, replacement document in front of them and put in the agent only remarks that the sale of this home is subject to the buyer securing the seller finding another property. So they're not surprised when you counter offer the offer that you're going to choose. They're not surprised when you counter offer the offer that was chosen with a seller replacement document. I hope you guys will mark your calendars and join me on Wednesday, February 21st at 9:30 in the morning, in person or in Zoom. I'm gonna go over the 11-page purchase contract. They have marked as legacy the old 5-page contract. You need to make sure that you understand line by line the 11 pages and help your sellers understand the 6 outs that they have in the 11-page new purchase contract. Help your buyers understand their 6 outs in the contract, okay? Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it. I always love teaching you guys. Please call me, text me, and look forward to my email over the next several days of the pre-listing packet, the template video, and then the items of value that I leave behind, and the listing interview lookbook, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. You guys have a great week, okay?
You too.
Bye-bye.